Well, if I don't want to say no. I don't want, the doctors think I'm crazy or tell me I'm crazy, which by the way, my doctor said I was insane if I didn't do chemo. Yeah, I mean, verbatim. And we left that meeting really discouraged. Just absolutely felt manipulated by fear. And this is really the big problem, is cancer patients are rushed into treatment out of fear. My story is one story. Someone could write it off and just say I was lucky or whatever, but I started finding people who had healed more difficult, more advanced cancers against the odds, didn't have surgery, didn't do treatment. And I'm like, it's real.
All right, guys, here at Utah South Summit, here with one of the speakers, we got Chris, aka Chris B. Cancer. What a name to have. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
Yeah, good to see you, man. How was your talk?
Talk went well. Yeah, went a little long, but
nice. That's a good thing, man.
It was great, man. I had a great turnout and covered a lot.
Talked about beating cancer and
talked about, obviously, my story and how I survived and thrived. And the thing about cancer is that there's so much about cancer that people don't know, and that doctors aren't telling them. One of the biggest things is that 90% of cancers are caused by diet, lifestyle, and environment.
Wow, that's a lot.
90%. Only 10%, depending on which study you're looking at, 10%, maybe 5%, maybe 2 or 3% of cancers are caused by genetics.
I always thought it was the opposite growing up.
Right.
I thought it was like 80% genetics.
Right. And it's not. It's not. And so because most people don't know this, they're not talking about it on the news. Even doctors aren't really talking about it with their patients. The average person, myself included, who is diagnosed with cancer has no idea that they can make changes to their diet and their lifestyle and their environment. And those changes will increase their odds of survival.
Yeah. And you got diagnosed
significantly.
Yeah. You got diagnosed at 26, right?
Yeah.
Stage 3.
26, stage 3 colon cancer. And the symptoms were, abdominal pain, basically discomfort, just kind of weird feelings. And I ignored it for the better part of the year. This was 2003. And I was just a busy guy. I was an entrepreneur. I was in real estate and had rental properties, and I was a musician. And I was just newlywed. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I was really excited about my life. And, but the pain kind of persisted and kind of gradually got worse and worse. And eventually I was referred to get a colonoscopy. And when they did it, they, woke me up after the procedure and was like, you've got a golf ball sized tumor in your colon, which was not what I was expecting to hear. And they biopsied it a couple days later. I get the call, hey, it's cancer. And the next step for you is we got to get you into surgery right away before this thing spreads and kills you. And at that point, I describe myself as a typical clueless cancer patient, right? I just didn't know anything about cancer, never had anybody close to me go through it. So I just assumed that just whatever the doctor says, this is what you got to do, right? But the diagnosis itself is just so traumatic. I mean, basically they're telling you have a disease that might kill you.
Yeah. Stage 3 too.
Stage 3. So it's advanced. It might, let me back up. They didn't know what stage it was at that point. And they assumed, I was told it's either stage 1 or 2, probably. But still, right? Cancer is a life-threatening disease. And young adult cancer, especially colon cancer, is a very tough cancer to survive, has a high death rate, and young adult cancers are on the rise. So I was sort of on the first wave of young adult cancers. My generation, I was born in 77, Gen X, is really the first fast food generation. So before my generation, I'll say this, as I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, that's when fast food exploded.
Yeah.
I literally saw Domino's, Pizza Hut, KFC, Taco Bell, Burger King, I saw these restaurants built, right? It was like, oh, we got a Burger King. Oh, we got a KFC. Oh, we got right? I mean, they're just building them everywhere throughout my, young adult life and young person life. And so, Yeah, we just grew up, my generation grew up eating a ton of fast food, a lot more than our parents. And I think it's made a huge impact on the health of my generation and Gen Y and Gen Z and
Millennials.
Yeah, exactly. So that's part of the conversation, right? That's part of it's one of the clues, one of the cancer causers that are known is our unhealthy diet. But I'm jumping ahead a little bit. But the point is, like, I didn't know any of that. I just knew I had pain. They told me I had cancer. They told me I need to get surgery, and I postponed it about 10 days because it was a couple days before Christmas. And I was like, man, I don't want to be in a hospital.
Priority
for Christmas, you know?
Christmas comes first.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, what's more depressing than you have cancer and you're in the hospital on Christmas?
Good point.
Like, so I was like, can I at least just have like a normal Christmas? Like, so anyway, I went in on December 30th, and they took out a third of my colon.
Jeez.
Colon is the large intestine, if anybody doesn't know that. If you had asked me what the colon was before my diagnosis, I would be like, I'm not sure.
I didn't even know it was large intestine. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, isn't that a punctuation mark?
I always thought they were different. That's crazy.
It's the same. Yeah.
Colon and large intestine.
The large intestine is the colon, also known as the bowel, if you're in the UK. So they took out a third. It's about 6 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
They took out a third, like 1.5 feet-ish. And that's where the tumor was. And when I woke up, they said, you're worse than we thought. You're stage 3. And the next step for you is chemotherapy.
Jeez.
So chemotherapy wasn't even a part of the conversation until they said stage 3. And it was like, oh no, right? If you're stage 2, at least at that time, if you're stage 2, you have the surgery, they send you home, they say, hey, good luck to you. You should be fine. But stage 3 is a different game. That means that the tumor has gotten big enough and spread to lymph nodes. So it's spreading. Mm-hmm. And they know if it's in lymph nodes that there are circulating tumor cells in other parts of the body. Mm-hmm. And the whole intention of chemo is we're trying to poison and kill any cancer cells that are in other tissues. We can't see them. They haven't multiplied enough to get big enough to detect on a scan, but that's the point of chemo. We're hoping the chemo will kill the other cells that surgery didn't get. So 2 things happened in the hospital that are worth mentioning. And there's a lot more details in my book. I have a book called Chris Beat Cancer. Mm-hmm. But the first thing that happened was after they took out a third of my large intestine, the first meal that they brought me was a sloppy Joe.
That's crazy.
Have you ever had a sloppy Joe?
Yeah, I used to like them, but they're heavy on the body.
Like summer camp or something?
Yeah, they're heavy. A lot of meat and sauce and
bread. It's just this, you're right. It's just this sloppy ground beef, on a burger bun, right? It's just like prison food. You know what I mean?
Part of your intestine and they're making you eat it.
Yeah, they literally, they cut a section out, reconnected it, and like, here's a sloppy Joe. So that was a surprise. I wasn't expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but if someone had said, guess what they're going to bring you, that would have been the last guess.
Did you eat it or?
I did.
Oh wow.
I did eat it because I hadn't eaten in like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, you were probably
I was hungry. I ate it. But at the same time, I'm like, this is gross, but I'm really hungry. And why are they feeding this to sick people? Then a couple days later, I got the green light to go home. And my surgeon came in to check on me before I left, and we were just having a conversation, and he was looking at my stitches and stuff like that. And I just happened to say, hey, is there any food I need to avoid? Because, I hadn't put that much thought into it, but I was like, well, they just took out a section of my digestive tract. Mm-hmm. Everything you eat is going down the tube, right? Mouth to anus.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just want to make sure there's not any food that's going to like screw things up, right? Like our hot sauce is going to melt the stitches, right?
Yeah.
And so, I'm like, hey, is there any food I need to avoid or whatever? And he's like, no, just don't lift anything heavier than a beer. That's it.
That's wild.
That's all the advice I got. And so, again, I'm like, what? Why is there such a disconnect here? Like, They don't care about healthy living. I mean, I knew there was like healthy stuff out there in the world. Like I knew like fruits and vegetables, that's healthy. Like McDonald's, that's not really healthy, right? And so like I had a basic knowledge of like health food and junk food, fast food, junk food, like fruits and vegetables, that's healthy. So anyway, I get home, I'm recovering from surgery. I start weaning myself off the pain medication. And that's when I really started to think about my life and my future, you know, as I sobered up. And that's when it started to get pretty scary because I had seen chemo patients out in the world. And I remember the first time I ever saw an advanced cancer patient who had clearly been through multiple rounds of chemo. I was a little kid, and I remember like kind of like being like, "Mom, like what's wrong with him?" You know, no hair, yellow skin, emaciated. You know, just like I've never seen a human in that condition before, and it made an impression on me. Like I was probably, 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty scary when you think that is that what I'm going to become? And as I thought about my life and my health and my future, it was like, man, what's going to become of me? Am I going to die young? This is my story? Like, oh yeah, Chris Wark, man, hey, man, good dude. It's really too bad about him. Got cancer and died in his 20s, Man, that sucks, right? It's like, this is it. And I'm a Christian. And so like, my wife and I prayed, and it wasn't like the first time I said a prayer, but there was a specific moment in our house. We sat on the couch and prayed, and I was just like, God, I don't know what to do. Like, if there's another way besides chemotherapy, please show me. And it was just a simple prayer of faith, but also, desperation, right? Because I knew this is like life or death, high stakes. And 2 days later, I got a book that was sent to me from a friend of my dad's, and this guy lives in Alaska. I'm in Tennessee. Sent me a book by a man named George Malcolmus, who wrote a book about raw food, with raw food, and he had healed his colon cancer with raw food, and it had been like 20 years. And as I'm reading his story, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, I prayed, I asked for something, this book showed up, like, this is what I got to do. This is what I'm doing. And so I, like, immediately, overnight, I'm like, okay, converting to a raw food diet. And I went to Whole Foods, loaded up the cart with vegetables and some fruit. I bought a juicer. They used to sell juicers at Whole Foods. Bought a 25-pound bag of carrots because they used to sell these big bags of carrot juice specifically for people that were juicing carrots.
Steve Jobs did that, right?
He did. And I don't know specifically, but I know he did a lot of kind of healthy kind of stuff. And man, I just got after it. There was no deliberation. I was just like, this is what I have to do. And I was actually excited to do it because one of the biggest problems in medicine, not just cancer, is that patients, they go to their doctor, they get a diagnosis, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, autoimmune disease, right? And the doctor says, here's your disease, here's the drugs for you that we use to treat your disease. Most cases, the drugs are not, right? But we can help treat and manage your disease. Patients hear the word treat and they think, but it doesn't mean. And patients often say, well, how did I get cancer? What caused my diabetes? What caused this autoimmune disease? And more often than not, the doctor's like, well, we don't know what caused it. It might be genetic. It might just be bad luck. They don't tell them it was diet or lifestyle, despite the mounds of publicly available, published, scientific, peer-reviewed studies on diet and lifestyle causing cancer or increasing survival, depending on the choices you make. And they're just told there's nothing you did, right? There's nothing you did. And if there's nothing you did, then there's nothing you can do to help yourself, right? It's not your fault. You're just a victim. And when you tell someone that there's nothing they did to contribute to their situation, to their problem. You are programming them into victimhood.
100%.
Right? And I'm wired a little differently, which is maybe I'm a little more logical than some people, maybe a little more rational. But to me, I believe some very simple truths. We live in a cause and effect world, right? Every problem has a cause. And so I knew in my mind, I was like, there has to be a cause to this. Like, what is the cause to this? And as I started reading and researching and learning about nutrition and cancer and disease, I realized that most chronic diseases are caused, I learned, by our diet and lifestyle. And that was like such a huge revelation, because like, wait a second, if my diet and my lifestyle and my environment and stress were all contributing factors to me becoming sick, well, those are things I can change. And that's good news. Mm-hmm. I'm not a victim. I'm not powerless. Like, if my choices led me down this path, I can make different choices. I can get on the healthy path. So this whole world opened up to me a possibility, right?
Yeah.
And radical life change was an exciting prospect. So, unfortunately, a lot of cancer patients, again, they're told there's nothing they can do, mm-hmm. and their only hope is treatment. And so they go home and nothing changes about their life. And they're even told by their doctor not to change. And here's the crazy thing. Do you know what the number one cause of cancer is?
Was it diet?
No.
What is it?
Smoking.
Okay.
Number one cause is smoking. And you're younger than me, right? Yeah. Your generation, not a whole lot of smokers. My generation, we all smoked.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody in high school, all my friends smoked cigarettes. We all smoked. And so smoking has really dropped off dramatically. And because of that, lung cancer has dropped off dramatically. That's great. Mm-hmm. Smoking is the number one cause. It's dropping off. The number two cause, you want to guess what that is?
Drinking.
That's a good guess. Alcohol does cause cancer, but it's not the number two cause.
What is it?
It's obesity.
Okay.
Which is pretty close to your first guess. Diet.
Yeah.
This is, again, something that isn't talked about. Doctors don't tell their patients this. They're not talking about it on the news. And a lot of people are afraid to talk about obesity because they're afraid they're going to be accused of body shaming.
Right.
Right? It's impolite. It's rude. It's whatever, right? Like, you can't talk about someone's weight.
Half the population's obese now, right?
Oh, it's more. It's 40% are overweight. 40% over 40% are obese.
That's crazy.
And over 70% are overweight.
Insane.
Yeah, it's bad. It's an epidemic. And let me just explain why, because I know some of your listeners are probably like, how does that work? When you're obese, it's a burden to your body, right? You're carrying a lot of excess weight, a lot of excess body fat, and that's a burden to the whole system, to all the systems. But specifically what happens is excess body fat secretes molecules that are inflammatory. And the excess fatty acids that are circulating in your body also slow down and suppress immune function. So a person is overweight, or if they're overweight or obese, and obviously there are degrees, right? You can be a little overweight or you can be a lot overweight. And the more overweight you are, the more susceptible you are to chronic disease. But that inflammation and immunosuppression, those are the two key ingredients that promote cancer over time, right? That make your body a place where cancer can thrive. So it's not just being overweight, right? It's the downstream effects of being overweight over time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you get a little bit overweight in your freshman year of college, it's
freshman
like,
15,
you're fine, right? You're not going to get cancer your sophomore year. But being overweight for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? It really degrades your health. And most people who are overweight also have diabetes. They also have high blood pressure. They also have high cholesterol, hypertension. That's high blood pressure. Cardiovascular disease issues. A lot of them have joint pain, right? They have digestive issues. They're just in bad shape.
Yeah.
And okay, smoking tobacco, being overweight, drinking alcohol. And then the other major contributor is under the lifestyle category is lack of exercise, being sedentary. Well, being sedentary also contributes to obesity, right? So like a poor diet, eating tons of junk food, fast food, processed food, lots of meat and dairy, that contributes to obesity. Not exercising, that contributes to obesity, right? So you can see how they all work together, right? Either positively or negatively to impact your health. And so exercise is one of the most important cancer prevention strategies. Just simply 30 minutes a day of deliberate exercise. Walking, running, cycling, CrossFit, Zumba, jazzercise, yoga, like anything that's rock climbing, doesn't matter. Anything that's strenuous, that challenges your muscles and your bones, gets you sweating, gets your heart pumping, is good. And there's a great study on breast cancer survival where they found that breast cancer patients who ate an average of 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day, and by the way, a serving is like half a cup. So you can have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables on one plate. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
One meal, right? One really healthy meal can be 5 servings. So the breast cancer patients that ate an average of 5 servings per day of fruits and vegetables and walked an average of 30 minutes per day had a 50% decreased risk of recurrence after 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's a lot, yeah.
Right? You think about like, you have breast cancer, you get treatment, right? You have surgery and chemo and radiation and stuff like that. And you can cut your risk of recurrence in half with just those 2 diet and lifestyle changes. And what happens if you do more, right?
Yeah.
You can cut the risk even further. And so, but that's a fantastic study that I love to talk about because it's just so elegant, so simple. And the tragedy is that most doctors aren't even telling breast cancer patients about that simple study that can help them survive. And again, the thing that makes no sense is they're not going to lose patients. They're not telling breast cancer patients don't do chemo or don't do surgery or don't do radiation. They're, do the treatments, but then also do this, right?
Supplemental.
Right. Add this, make these changes, positive changes to your life. So I'm on a tangent, but I'll jump back to my story. I, made these radical changes. I adopted a raw food diet, started juicing. I went to see the oncologist because I had, I was really starting to think I didn't want to do chemotherapy. I had a lot of reservations about it. And we had a meeting that went sour. And the oncologist was very arrogant, condescending, did not treat my wife and I well. And we left that meeting really discouraged. Just absolutely felt manipulated by fear. And this is really the big problem, is cancer patients are rushed into treatment out of fear. And they're coerced, they're manipulated, and many of them say yes to treatments that they don't understand. They don't know the risks, they don't know the side effects, they don't know the long-term effects or the short-term side effects. And then they have major regrets, right? Long-term damage from treatments that fail. And I have a free guide on my website. It's called 20 Questions for Your Oncologist. So if anybody listening has cancer in their family or whatever, or they have a diagnosis, you can go to chrisbeatcancer.com. There's a link to that guide on every page. It's free. Just download it, go through the questions, ask find the questions that make sense for your situation, and ask your doctor these questions. Because if you don't ask the right questions, you really will be flying blind.
Yeah.
You're going to be totally ignorant throughout the whole process. Doctors are busy. They're going to tell you as little as they need to, and then move on to the next patient. And this is even the well-meaning doctors, right? So that appointment was a blessing in disguise because it opened my wife's eyes to the cancer treatment industry, and it opened my eyes even further to just the way we were treated. And it's like, well, if you're going to treat me like this, I'm not coming back. But he who manipulated me into saying yes to chemo out of fear. And I had an appointment to get a port put in several weeks. But I'm just thankful, like I'm so thankful to God that I had that buffer of time. Because a lot of patients are like, you need to start chemo in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, man, you'd be shocked.
That's fast.
They can be in surgery the next day. They can be starting chemo in a couple days or radiation. Like, man, you get on that, it's like you get on the bullet train, right? You get the diagnosis, you're on the train and it's moving fast. And it's like, it's hard to jump off. It's scary. You're like, this train's moving so fast, it's scary to jump off. Like, you're like, well, if I don't want to say no. I don't want, the doctors to think I'm crazy or tell me I'm crazy, which, by the way, my doctor said I was insane if I didn't do chemo. Yeah, I mean, verbatim.
He must watch you now and be like, what happened?
I don't know. I don't know if he watches me, but he may be retired by now. It was January 2004. But the point is, like, it's so hard to get off that train, and it's so hard to really stand up for yourself when everyone around you saying, you have to do this, the doctor's saying it, your family members are saying it, you got to do this. And so I was faced with that same dilemma where everyone around me pretty much was saying, you have to do what the doctor says. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel right about it. I don't think that's the path for me. I was really having to lean heavily on my faith because I'm like, look, I prayed, I got something. Right. And I don't think it was a coincidence. I think God answered my prayer. He gave me an alternate path. I'm taking this path. And if no one understands, I'm taking it alone. And that was really hard.
I bet. Yeah. Your own family and friends telling you you're crazy.
Yeah. In so many words. Right. I had people say, you're being stubborn and we don't want you to die. And I knew somebody that tried alternative therapies and they died, right?
Yeah.
So in so many words, they're saying,
kind of guilting you almost.
Yeah. Yeah. There's fear and kind of guilt and pressure. And a lot of patients, the pressure's too much and they just give in,
Yeah.
Inside, their instincts are telling them, don't do this or don't do that. Everyone else says, you have to do it. And they're just like, okay.
And back then it wasn't really a normal route either. Now it's a bit more normal, I feel like.
More people are taking control of their treatment decisions now because of the internet, but it's a double-edged sword because there's a lot of bad information on the internet.
True.
And at that time in 2004, there was no social media. There was no Facebook. There was no TikTok, no Instagram, no YouTube.
That's crazy.
Think about that. There was no YouTube.
That's my whole life.
Yeah.
Social media.
No YouTube. So it's like the internet was all text. It was text-based and there were photos, but like nobody had fast enough streaming to have video online.
Wow. That's
in
crazy.
2004. And so I didn't get any help on the internet. Like I'd started reading books. I'd read one book and it would mention other books and then I'd read those books and go, just book to book to book. Yeah. But the cool thing was at that time, all the books I was reading were all saying the same things. They're all saying raw foods, juicing, detoxification, fasting, forgiveness, exercise. Like these are like fundamental principles of health, right? The core stuff. And so like I just sort of zeroed in on that. And then I found a naturopathic doctor and an integrative oncologist and sort of cobbled together a little support team. And man, I just created a simple daily routine to overdose on nutrition, optimize my health, fresh air, sunshine, exercise, and forgiveness was another big part of the cancer journey that I kind of came into a little later. Once I did all the physical stuff and I got my life reorganized, I realized I learned that forgiveness was a huge part of cancer, that anger and bitterness and resentment are health destroyers. And so many people are carrying anger and bitterness and resentment toward people in their past that have hurt them. And it's legitimate anger, right? It's legitimate. But the problem is when you hold on to it, it wrecks your health.
Yeah, stored in your liver, right?
Man, liver, stomach, intestines, and that anger can manifest in different parts of the body. It doesn't always turn into cancer, but the more you sort of study human nature and observe people, especially as you age and you watch people age and you watch the decisions that they've made and you see them kind of morph into, a person that becomes very bitter and cynical and unhappy as they age. That's a person who is not forgiving the people who've hurt them, right? They're just letting that anger just sort of build and that unhappiness grow. And so you show me a bitter old person, I'll show you someone who hasn't forgiven, right? They haven't forgiven people. So, at first I was like, I don't need to forgive anybody. I'm good. Like nobody's really, I wasn't abused as a kid. My parents didn't get divorced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a hard life. I grew up in the suburbs and middle class, and, I just so much to be thankful for with my upbringing. But I also realized that I still had resentments and bitterness and unforgiveness, and I had just bad attitude problems. Like I had, I was easily, I was judgmental, critical.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happy for other people's success, right? I was envious and jealous of anyone that I perceived was better looking, more successful, just had anything better than me.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happy for them, right? It would make me
That's
resentful.
relatable for sure.
Yeah.
With social media, I think a lot of people operate like that, comparing themselves.
A lot of people are putting content out to make themselves look perfect,
right,
or successful, to inspire envy, that's not good either.
Yeah.
So, we're susceptible to it, and then people are, really exploiting that.
Yep.
And it gets them attention, right? I mean, if I, hired a bunch of models and rented a bunch of Lamborghinis and started making content like that, right? What would I be doing, right? I'd be inspiring envy.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's harder now. But just the awareness of it is like, I think, really powerful.
Agreed.
That being able to catch yourself in envy and jealousy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm actually feeling envy right now. Why am I feeling this way? I need to shut this down. Like I need to stop interrupt this feeling of resentment and bitterness. I mean, I was resentful and bitter of people who were healthy.
Wow.
After I was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I
was feeling sorry for myself.
You were like, why me?
Yeah.
I'm 26 with cancer.
Yeah. I'm 26. Look at you walking around healthy,
Yeah.
like you have no idea what it's like to be me and worried about dying, like those are the kind of like sort of, seething, bitterness emotions that were like creeping in. But I also realized like, I can't live this way. Like I can't let this take over. What do I do? And so I started just becoming mindful and like catching myself in those thoughts and those moments and being like, okay, what's good in my life? I know it's bad, right? I know it's bad. Cancer's bad and it's trying to consume me. But what's good? I've got a wife who loves me. I've got a home. I've got food. I have enough money to pay my next set of bills. I've got parents who love me and support me. I can get out of bed. I can see and hear and walk and talk. Like I could go for a run today. Like, man, I have so much to be thankful for despite cancer. And that gratitude practice of counting your blessings, like that will shift your perspective in just a moment. Like you can pull yourself out of the funk, right? Of being frustrated by a situation or being offended by someone or being, worried or fearful or envious, like all those negative emotions, you can snap out of it if you just stop in the moment and not let it, bubble over, right? Not just like let it boil up and just catch it and go, wait a second. What's good in my life? Let me just take stock real quick because my life's pretty good. And we can all find things to be thankful for and grateful for. And if you just meditate on those for a moment, it just brings you back, And so my gratitude hack is, this is one sentence I call my gratitude hack that will bring me out of a funk. And it's this: right now, there's someone dying in the hospital that would love to trade places with you. They'd love to have your problem, whatever it is, right? And if you just meditate on that for a moment, you realize, man, my problem is not that big a deal. Yeah, I'm frustrated. Yeah, this sucks. I don't like this, whatever it is, whether it's cancer or just somebody stood you up on a date or, whatever it is, right? It's like, this is such not a big deal. There are people dying right now that would love this dumb little problem that I have.
Perspective.
It's
everything.
So that's a hard perspective reset. And I practiced it. I learned that during cancer. Cancer is one of the blessings of cancer, one of the things it taught me, and I still practice it now. And then the part about forgiveness is I made a decision to forgive every person who's ever hurt me. Every person by name until there was no one left.
I got to do that. So you just sat down and wrote them all down.
That's one way, right? You sit down and go, okay, it's forgiveness time. Who do I need to forgive? Who's hurt me? And you just sit down, you stare at a piece of paper and you go, all right, let me think about my life. Let's go back as far as I can remember. Who was mean to me on the playground? Who picked on me? Who let me down? Parents, siblings, relatives, friends, coworkers, right? You want to make the big list? Make the big list. And then one by one, as I would think about the person and what they did, and when you revisit those memories, it's painful, right? You can still feel the hurt a lot of times when you think about people that were mean to you intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, but whatever. When you just revisit that, you feel it. You kind of get back into it. And I would just say this simple prayer. I just say, God, you know what they did, and you know how I feel about it. I do not want to forgive them, but I'm choosing to forgive them, right? I'm choosing, despite my feelings. I'm going to let this go and I'm going to give it to you, right? So you give it to God. You say, it's all yours. Like, I'm not going to carry it anymore. I'm not going to carry this anger and bitterness and resentment. I'm letting it go. You can deal with them, right? So you just turn it over to him, right?
Yeah.
It's like you give the warrant to the sheriff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, here you go.
It's your problem now, God.
Yeah, it's your problem. And here's the thing. God is just, right? Justice will be served. No one gets away with anything, right?
I agree with that.
Temporarily.
Maybe temporarily, yeah.
But not in the long term. Like, it doesn't matter, what your religion is or your beliefs are. It's like, in Hindu, they call it karma, right?
Yep.
In the Christian faith, we say you reap what you sow. What goes around comes around, right? So you can have some solace knowing they're going to get what they deserve. I don't have to be the one to hand it to them. They're going to get it. And I need to forgive and let them go because this bitterness is just going to poison me.
Yep.
And so the last little part of that forgiveness practice is, I say that just simple little prayer. I give it to God, and then I'll say, I'm asking you to bless them. That sounds hard. That's the hardest part of the prayer.
You even bless them for screwing you over.
That's the hardest part of the prayer. And here's the thing. God knows your heart, right? He knows you don't want him to bless them. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you want. You're asking him to bless them anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't have to pretend. You don't have to fake it. You can be raw and real in prayer and just say, God, I don't want you to bless them, but I'm asking you to bless them because I know I need to, right? Because I want to be blessed. I want to be forgiven, right?
Yeah.
And it's hypocritical for me to say, God, bless me, forgive me, but I'm not going to bless or forgive them, right? And so here's the beautiful thing. When you do that, you release yourself from the prison of pain, right? It's like the burden that you're carrying from the bitterness and the resentments and the anger and all the people that screwed you over and hurt you. Like, all that is a burden to you, right? That's why they call it baggage. Think about it, right? You've heard people say, oh yeah, so-and-so, they got a lot of baggage.
Yep.
What is baggage? It's bitterness, right?
Yeah.
And so put down the bags. That's what forgiveness is. You put the bags down, you walk away, and don't pick them back up. And so, man, I'm telling you, this was one of the most powerful lessons I learned. There's so much you can do to help yourself by changing your diet, by exercising, by, changing your environment, by getting around people that love you and encourage you and support you. But the internal work, forgiving the people that have hurt you. Jesus said, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. It's like, there it is, right?
Yeah.
Love your enemies. It's hard.
Very.
We don't want to do it, right? Jesus said, do it. It's good advice. And so, so I started doing that, and I worked through the list, forgave everyone till there was no one left. And now I'm quick to forgive, right? I've learned being online, as you are, right? There's a lot of mean people on the internet.
A lot.
Right?
A lot.
And for someone in your position especially, every time you read a mean comment or a troll or whatever, eventually you kind of get thick skin and you just say whatever, right? But sometimes you'll read something that it's like, it kind of pokes you.
If it's from someone I respect, it definitely affects me more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get that and it's like, oh man, and it really starts to affect you, and you just be quick to be like, you know what? I don't know what's up. I don't know why this person is lashing out at me, and like, man, that hurts. But you know what? God, I forgive him. Bless him. Just, I'm not gonna let this steal my joy. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to let it steal my joy. I'm not going to let it ruin my day. Move on from it. I'm not going to bury it or stuff it. I'm just going to release it.
Yeah, I'm sure you get a ton of hate because you're teaching people how to.
I've had a lot, 16 years of talking about this stuff publicly. And for sure. I mean, I've heard every insult someone could give me for doing what I do. And and I've just learned to be quick to forgive.
Yeah, you have to be in our situation.
Be quick to forgive, and beyond that is be unoffendable. That's the next level.
Yeah,
right.
I'm almost there.
Yeah,
I think I'm almost there.
Yeah,
I've gotten very thick-skinned, unoffendable, almost there.
Yeah,
I think there's some comments that would still offend me, but for the most part, I'm good.
Well, forgiveness is the sort of superpower that gets you to the unoffendable level. Yeah. Right.
I think so I could take it when it's on me, but if they're going after my wife or someone I really care about, that's when I get kind of offended, but
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. And, it's, what's really amazing too, is that the very first verse in the Bible that came to mind when I was diagnosed was Romans 8:28, which says, we know that God works all things for the good of those who love him. All things. God works all things for the good of those who love him. Well, that's the bad things, right? He doesn't need to work the good things for your good. They're already good. It's the bad things. It's the insults. It's the injuries. It's the letdowns. It's the persecution. It's the affliction. It's the trials and tribulations. He works those things for your good, right? To shape your character, to make you more humble, to make you more patient, to make you more kind, right? To make you more grateful, and to make you just into a better person, more loving, right? More compassionate, more gracious. And those are hard, there are certainly hard times that happen in life. I've had a lot of hard times besides cancer, a lot of difficulties. And every single one of them has taught me to trust God, to be patient, and just to know that his timing is perfect, and that I can just trust him, right? I can just say, I trust you with this problem. I don't know how to solve it. I'm going to work towards solving it, but I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to trust that you're going to lead me, right? That's just the most simple form of faith there is. It's just saying, God, I trust you. I need help, and I'm going to trust you to help me. And so, when people insult your family, your wife, or your friends, it's kind of the same deal. It's like, you know what? This persecution is unwarranted, but God, I trust that you've got it. You've got me.
Yeah.
Right? You've got me. You've got the situation under control. I forgive them, bless them.
Yeah.
And man, it's just, you'll be able to move through life and navigate life with so much more peace, right? And joy than the person that doesn't have these skills and these tools. That makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Again, I have a book called Chris Beat Cancer that really gets into the details of my story and nutrition, nutritional science, everything I did and what I've learned.
We'll include a link to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. For anybody that wants to really kind of dig in and learn more about me and what what I've learned that I'm trying to share with the world. But, you know, in 2010, 7 years after my diagnosis, like I didn't want to talk about cancer at all. Like I was cancer free. I was healthy. I was in real estate and a musician, playing music and doing the stuff that I wanted to do. And I had 2 little baby girls and just life was good. But I just had this nagging feeling that like, oh, man, like I've been through so much and I've learned so much. Like I feel like I can't just like put that on a shelf, you know, like I know there are cancer patients that need encouragement. They need hope. And like, what do I do? How do I help them? And that, you know, at that time it was like blogging was sort of like happening, right? It was becoming a thing, 2010. So I had a friend and I was like, dude, I think I need to like start a blog or something. Like, how do I do it? And he was like, oh yeah, man, let me help you out. Like WordPress, you know, whatever. So I started Chris Beat Cancer and started writing, sharing my story, sharing what I'd learned. YouTube had been going for a few years. I started making videos, trying to like just share what I'd learned. And then as I started putting stuff out there, like it was kind of crazy. People just started finding me, right? You know how the internet works. Like you put something out there and people find you and they follow you. And other cancer survivors started reaching out and saying, man, I love your story. I love what you did. I did the same thing. I healed this type of cancer or that type of cancer like 10 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever. And I'm like, oh man, this is great. Like, can I interview you and share your story? And so then that's really when I started the YouTube interviews, which became podcasting a few years later. But I started interviewing survivors to share their stories. Because I'm like, look, my story is one story, right? Someone could write it off and just say I was lucky or whatever. But I started finding people who had healed more difficult, more advanced cancers against the odds, didn't have surgery, didn't do treatment. And I'm like, it's real, right? People are.
You've interviewed thousands now, right?
No,
hundreds.
Yeah. Yes. And doctors, experts, and survivors. And so, yeah, I just started interviewing people, sharing wisdom and the knowledge and the tools and tactics that they use to heal. And what I found was we all basically did the same stuff, right? It's plant-based diet, raw foods, juicing, detoxification, exercise, forgiveness, like all the stuff I'm talking about. These are the same things that every person I know who's healed against the odds and did.
It's amazing.
Right? And so I just want to put this out there. Like, this is a free resource for anyone. If you have cancer, you can go to chrisbeatcancer.com. You can type in the search bar, breast cancer, right? Or lymphoma or brain cancer. And you will find interviews with survivors who have, it's a free website. There's not even any ads on it.
Wow.
No ads.
No ads.
Ad free.
Respect.
And then of course there's also articles on different cancer types and nutrition, nutritional science on anti-cancer diet strategies and lifestyle strategies. And again, interviews with doctors, integrative doctors and experts, researchers and stuff. So that I've just built a big database. It's free.
Thank you for what you do, man. Giving you your flowers. You've helped a lot of people. We'll include a link to everything.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
It's been great.
Yeah. Check them out, guys. Check out the book. Check out the site. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching to the end, guys. Please comment below your thoughts on the episode. If you agree, if you disagree, I'd love to hear it. I read every single comment. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much.